Okay, it started now.
Yeah. So it takes a moment to turn itself on.
Yeah, I'm really happy, Tina, Ngọc, and Betty, that you joined from this online living book event today or tonight. My name is Phuong. I'm 32 years old. I was born and raised in Germany, in Berlin. And yeah, I have a huge, how can I say, life story to tell. So I'm really excited now to share it. And first of all, because we have this kind of technical thing, when I share my screen right now, I'm not able to see you, but you can interrupt me anytime if you have like questions or something like a remark. So I'm really, really happy to show it to you. So, uh, huh? Let me, where is it now? Oh, sorry, this kind of, now I can see this. Okay.
Yep. I see your slides and
Yes.
now
Yeah.
it's full screen. Perfect.
Yes, my chapter of this online book, it's called The Gift of a Second Chance, and of course it can mean a lot of things, right? If you have like some goals in your life that you haven't reached yet, or some decisions that you might regret, and in my case, this is like a kind of stroke of fate that I had when I was 27 years old. It happened 5 years ago. And first of all, I want to start with this kind of quote. It's like, I don't believe in coincidence, but I believe in everything that happens for a reason. And sometimes that reason is a second chance. I feel like this is kind of present from the universe for me that changed everything in my life. So before I start, um, about me, as you can see on the left corner, this was me when I was 5 years old. And these on the picture are my parents. I have a Vietnamese mom and a German stepfather. And my mom came, as many other guest workers, to Germany when she was in her 30s. And you can imagine, in Germany was divided into two parts back then, in West Germany and East Germany. My mom worked as a fabric worker. And yeah, when I was born, I have a Vietnamese father too. But when I was 2 years old, he left Germany because of because he was deported due to some accidents. And that time, my mama raised me alone. But I was really really happy to have this German stepfather who also raised me really like a child. And and yeah, in Germany, I went to high school and I also studied there biology. And my life was kind of having this typical, I don't know, Vietnamese childhood. My mom was really strict back then, and I realized that everything was like, oh, I need to bring back good marks. I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend until I was like 20 years old, and every this kind of Vietnamese culture back then. It was really put me in this kind of really strict childhood thing. And I remember it was like a tough time too, because I was like, okay, I need to be like a good child because my mom wants to be proud. And I feel like that my decision for my studies was also kind of influenced by my mom, because I felt like that back time, all of my point of view, my values, it was everything from my mom. And I felt like, is it the true myself back then, or it's like just the product of kind of her education? I hope you can understand what I mean. And that's why I feel like my life was defined by ambition, achievement, and everything was like, I need to self optimize myself, right? Having a good job and also be this kind of security for my parents. And then on the 15th of August 2020, it happened that the day that everything changed. And you can imagine, during that time, I had an exam for my study, for my bachelor degree. and I was like studying all the time, and I realized suddenly that I had a really strong headache, and I thought, oh, that might be a migraine, or it's something with my period. I was like having PMS or that time, and I didn't know what was it. But when it started to get worse, I remember I couldn't speak anymore. I wasn't able like to say anything, and the headache, they were really so strong that I also started vomiting that night. And I just remember back time when I was with my ex-boyfriend that night, that I called the ambulance and went to the hospital. And what they did at that time was just gave me painkillers, because as for young women, 27 back time, it wasn't. It was maybe normal, right, to have this kind of migraine or really strong headache. So I only received painkillers. But honestly, after all this kind of horrendous happenings, I realized that I was kind of in life danger big time, right? Because all the symptoms that I described you, these were symptoms of a stroke. And I remember having this kind of painkillers. I went back home, but the next day, the next night was really horrible again. So I started vomiting. I couldn't speak anymore, and I went to the hospital again. But at that time, they gave me painkillers again, right? But without thinking, yeah, let check the head of the young woman. So it was like 3 days in a row that I went to the hospital anytime, and I felt like that I lost trust in those doctors, because every time they told me I have migraine. And then after the third visit of the hospital, I decided, okay, maybe I just need to take the painkillers. Okay, maybe I will overcome this. So you can imagine back then that the reason that caused it, my headache and the pain, it was that I had a really strong brain bleeding at that time. The whole left brain was full of blood, and I don't know how I survived this. The doctors at the end, they told me, oh my god, maybe you had like a guardian angel. It's not one, but maybe many of them. But how can it happen that I, after the 3 visits from the hospital, that I survived with the brain bleeding in a month? But during that month, I started to go to the university again, and I also worked again too. But my doctor, my it's not from the hospital, but my normal doctor, he told me that, oh, your symptoms, they're still there, and sometimes I was struggling with my speech. Yeah, this is kind of weird. Maybe we should make an appointment for the MRA, and it would be the best thing maybe to check it, right? And I remember it was really 1 month later, I went to the MRA. And when I went there, I didn't imagine that, that the result was kind of, maybe was negative and everything was okay. But I realized that the hospital worker at the time, he called me and he was like, oh, Phuong, please have a sit. I need to talk to you, and we really need to put you in the hospital again. I was like, oh, what happened? And then I realized, oh, in my brain was full of blood, and you need to go to the hospital immediately, because you can die anytime, right? And I was so shocked that time, because I thought, okay, so it means I can die anytime. And yeah, I think this was like the day where everything changed, because I realized that my life could have ended sooner, back in on the 15th of August, when all the pain, all the symptoms started. So from that day on, my the change of my life and everything, this kind of odyssey, I would call this, started that day. And you can imagine, it took me 5 years, oh no, maybe at first 2 years, full of surgeries and therapy, everything to enjoy the life again. But now, 5 years later, I'm still struggling with the symptoms that I had sometimes, like headache and so on. But during that time, the whole 5 years, I felt like that I was losing control over my life, and I felt like, oh, what happened when I yeah, what is with my goal, right? Because I promised my mom that I want to finish my master's. I want to finish. I want to have like a good job to pay for her and to support her family and everything else. And everything I was asking myself back then was, did I do I everything, or the things that I did back time, was it everything for myself, or did I was a people pleaser back then, just to, yeah, be the perfect daughter for my mom? So I was like, yeah, I questioned everything back then, and especially with the fear in my back, if I'm able to be recovered from that everything. And you can imagine all the surgeries that I had. The doctors wanted to stop the bleeding, so it means they couldn't open my head, but everything they did was like with a catheter to go inside my body to reach the brain and to close it, because this disease that I had, it's called the malformation. It's like a, it's not a malignant tumor, but it's kind of the vessels in my head. They are not formed in a normal way. They have kind of had a mutation since I was born. But it was a really rare disease. So I remember back then I was in Berlin and I thought the hospitals might be really good and specialized. But I remember my doctor called so many hospitals in Germany, like if there's one doctor who could help me, because this kind of construct that I had in my brain, it was so rare and so complicated that they didn't know what to do with me. So in that kind of 2 years in therapy, it was like one of the most horrible, yeah, period of time that I had. But at back time, I thought for myself, okay, you just have this one life and you still have the chance to overcome everything. So maybe I should also start to question myself, also with the career and also personality things. Is the current myself, is it the really one that I want to be in the future too? So of course I also went to therapy back time, but at the end, I realized every surgery that was successful back time, I felt so thankful and grateful for the doctors and also for my body itself to overcome all this kind of pains and this kind of risk that I took back then. And I also realized that people struggling also with their daily life back then, they can be really thankful to have this kind of really good health. And yeah, all my values, you can imagine this kind of perfect daughter image that I had back then, it turned like 180 degrees. And I also, yeah, thought for myself, okay, maybe if I finished my studies back then, I think I want to do completely different new things. For example, I want to test myself, maybe to do some social volunteer work, or to help other people with this similar like disease, really like completely the opposite. For example, not to crave for this kind of success that I had before, but what really fulfills me in life. So I changed everything, and yeah, I think it was like the best chance that I had, having this kind of stroke of fate, because I realized that it doesn't matter how much money I earn back then, but what I really want to do back time for my life was to live to the fullest, like to live with gratitude, but also to live with this kind of goal in life to be happy. And yeah, this was the point that everything changed. And you can imagine that the everything during that time, there were like some setbacks too, because when I started like to talk with people about this and also to talk with my boss back then, there of course were some co-workers or former friends. They also realized, oh, I was changing myself a lot. So it was a kind of situation that when I was able to say no to people, and back time they realized, okay, if I'm saying no to them, it might be something that I don't want to be them with them anymore. I hope you can understand what I mean. For example, that I showed them my borders, because in the past I remember I was kind of people pleaser, And I said yes to anything, and people started to realize, oh, Phuong is not saying yes to anything, to everything anymore. So yeah, I remember when I started to post things on LinkedIn, or when I was talking with on networking events about my story, people were like, oh, don't push yourself so much on the front, right? I don't know if I explain it well in English, but it's like, don't show yourself so much. Or why are you being like this? You want to be something like a content creator or something like this? And I was like, oh, it's a problem if I'm doing this, going on stage or being a speaker on events. Is it a problem for you? And they told me, yeah, directly, like, yes, it's not. Yeah, they have the problem, right, that I changed myself too much. But this is kind of like, I feel the one side of this kind of change after what happened, because I realized that there were so many other people. When I told them my story, they supported me and they motivated me. They were like, oh, Phuong, please continue and please show your story to other people that having a similar story, or please go or please be active in this kind of social engagement. And that's why I put, as you can see, it was on at the Free University from my master studies. And I was able also to, after what happened, to finish my master's this year in March. And I was really, really proud of myself, because back then I didn't know if I really can finish my master's or not. Because you can imagine, I was also struggling a lot and thought maybe it's better to give up, because you're struggling with your health so much right now. And it wasn't just the physical health, but also the mental health too. But I was really, really thankful for people that were like, oh no, we really want to hear your story. So please come to to our show or to our event, and please, yeah, please tell your story. And so it started back then with my university. And I also started to post things on LinkedIn and on Instagram too. And then so many other people's like that I didn't know before, they came to me and were like, oh my God, I really want you to be on my radio show or something like this. And I was like, oh my, maybe I feel like that stroke of fate helped me to see my own value, that I am able, or that I am allowed to dream big. So this is the kind of thing that I realize, that success doesn't mean for me to have like a really good, well-paid job. I feel like that success means for me to reach people, to inspire people. So this is kind of purpose that I have right now, and I'm really, really happy that I realize it. And of course, I find joy in so many, daily things again. For example, with my health condition, I also started to run again, right? And it was like a 5 kilometer run at that time. And I also have this dream, maybe not, I don't know if it's, I think not this year anymore, but maybe next year, to accomplish the half marathon, right? So I have like my personal goals that I wasn't thinking about if I can reach them with my disease. And yeah, this the reason why I want to show you this kind of moments that I really, really, that I'm really, really proud of now. And I'm still on the point, in the process, that I'm trying to figure it out, what I really want to become, what I really want to do. So yeah, I think you're still on my journey. To overcome everything, to grow. And that's why I'm really, really happy to show the story with you. And of course, these are like my personal words now to you. Of course, sometimes when you're thinking about, or there might be a new chance for me, or there's like a new no, not no position, but oh, I want to become a founder or something like this. I think my personal recommendation would be really believe in you and just do it, not to thinking about what other people might think of you, or if they want to push you down or something. Because I also realized that my surroundings also changed a lot, and there were so many people in the past next to me, but nowadays it's kind of empty right now, because I feel like that many people, they're they were telling me like, oh, this kind of change now in your personality, it feels uncomfortable for them. And I was like, oh, why are they feeling uncomfortable with this? But I realized, I think that's not that I was the problem, but I feel like that they had a problem with themselves. So I realized that, yeah, I think if you everyone is allowed to dream big, and that's the reason why I feel like that. Yeah, this kind of journey that I had helped me to realize it. So, yeah, this was like my story. It was. I hope it wasn't a bit short, but yeah, I thought maybe we can have a nice discussion after my slides. So, yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for sharing your story. It, I, you know what? The one thing I would like to hear a bit more was
Yeah.
the emotional side that you must have struggled with, because before finding out that this issue in your head vividly, right? Um, you must have like a great life, and then everything came crumbling down. Like, how did that feel? Like, I understand that change must have happened. Like, you just cannot be sick and not change your life to accommodate the sickness. It's not
Mm,
like you ask for it, it just happened. You have zero control.
yes.
And adjusting must have been really difficult, because you probably went from a strong, independent person, beside being wanting to be the perfect daughter,
Mm,
uh, to being likely helpless,
yes.
right? Because that's what sickness does to us humans.
I'm not sure if I'm putting a trigger warning right now. You can imagine back time, I really had suicide thoughts a lot. So
Mm,
I was really on the bottom of, I don't know, like a big hole. And I had the feeling that it won't stop because back then it was also during COVID. I was also isolated from everything. So the hospital where it was not in Berlin. So it was like 2.5 hours away from my parents' house. So my parents were
mm,
not allowed to visit me. And also my boyfriend back time was also not allowed to visit me. So every time when I had a surgery, I was like a week alone for myself, and no one was able like to talk to me. So I felt in a really big, huge, depressive hole. I would describe
mm,
it like this. I cried a lot, and then of course I told you like this kind of suicide thoughts because I felt
mm,
like that my self worth was zero back then. How can I,
mm,
of the pressure, of course, how can I help my mom? Because I didn't mention it, but I grew up in a really poor family. So my mom was
mm,
also struggling a lot when she came to Berlin, to Germany.
mm,
And I promised her, I remember when I was healthy, that I want to be the person who save her. And back then I couldn't do it anymore. So I felt
mm,
like, oh, okay, should I end it should I end by myself my life now, or should I have
mm,
a small chance, right, that I can overcome this? And then I started like or I found like a group on Facebook having
mm,
this kind of similar disease, and I felt like this group helped me because they also had this kind of, I don't know, the 5 step of grieving, but I
mm,
realized that I stuck on the second part every time again, not to accept my destiny, but it's like I wanted to push it away because I felt like this wasn't me. It was like uh, I don't know. It's like something happened, like bad karma, that it was
mm,
affecting me. I was thinking this those things all the time. For example, what it's maybe like a god or a universe wants to punish me because I was like not brave enough, I was not successful enough. I was like putting so much pressure on myself. So
mm,
yeah, it was a really hard time for me. And you can imagine it took me several years, like 3 or 4 years, that I started to enjoy life again. And then also to, yeah, to to wrap my arms and to hug myself, and was like, "Oh, you were so brave today, and it was a hard day. You had a headache, but you still yeah, you still went to work, you still finished your masters, and you can be so proud." But you can imagine, back then I wasn't that for myself. I was like, I don't want this anymore, and this is not belongs. It's not belonging to me. And nowadays I'm like, that's myself, and I really want
mm,
to keep it with me and to be really, really, yeah, kind to
mm-hmm.
myself. So yeah,
Yeah, it's the inner talk, right?
yeah,
That's is like basically self-care that sometimes is the biggest lesson you walked
mm,
away with from this tremendous experience. And it must have felt heavy back then to quote unquote break your promise
yeah,
to yourself and to your mom.
yes. So nowadays, it's still like what I'm doing here right now in Japan is also like not doing work. It's just like a kind of internship that I'm doing. So I'm still not supporting my mom financially, but of course, she also find her peace with this. So it was really funny. I think 2 years ago, my mom also apologized to myself, and she said, "I'm really sorry that I was a really strict mom to you and that I put so much pressure on you." So I felt like that
Mm,
my mom and I back then, I think we found our peace and harmony. And
mm.
yeah, this is, mm, yeah,
It must have felt so much relief when you had that conversation.
yes, a lot
Mm,
because sometimes I felt like it was a hate love relationship that I had back then with my mom because I put her so many. How can I thought that she was responsible sometimes for my for the bad times that I had when I was struggling, and then she was like, yeah, pushing more. And then I was like, "Oh, mom, why don't you understand that I'm struggling, and why not supporting?" And that's why it feels like a hate love relationship. But back
mm,
then, when my mom apologized, I feel like, okay, I think I can forgive you, mom,
mm,
and maybe you just also accept me as a daughter, but with a disease, right? So
mm,
yeah, I think I'm, yeah, not, of course, no one is perfect, but I'm still like, for her now, the perfect daughter.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. That that's a very heavy burden to carry. That title, although it sounds quote unquote good, but
Yeah.
it's such a heavy burden to carry to play the role of a perfect daughter.
Yes, it was so hard. And sometimes I feel like nowadays it's better now, but sometimes my former past, it's
Mm,
telling me some thoughts like, oh, you can do it. You can work it 1 more hour, or you can also do this, and let's continue with this. And then my current self is telling me
mm,
like, stop, not today, maybe tomorrow or next week, but please still, yeah, listen to your body and not listen to your former self. So sometimes I still have
mm,
this kind of conversation in my mind and my
mm,
brain. Sometimes still yeah, it's still a process that I'm accepting the past, but
mm,
now saying to the past like, not now. Right.
mm. Yeah, like basically listen to your heart more than
Yes.
your brain,
Yes, exactly.
right? Get the logical side, the thinking side. Sometimes it's just out of touch, but the
Mm,
heart knows what the body needs, right?
yeah.
It knows before anything and everything. Yet,
Mm,
um, we, in my experience anyway, we none of us, most of us anyway, I would say 99%, we were not taught to listen to our heart, aka to trust ourselves. Right? And instead we focus on what is logical, what is
mm,
acceptable by society. But if we truly listen to our hearts, it tells us what we need to do that is right for us, and also to protect us from being too hard towards ourselves. Like you must have struggle a great deal when you realize that you couldn't keep your promise on in the timeline that you wanted it to
Yes.
finish your masters, right? And not realizing it, that at that point in time anyway, you didn't realize that, you know what, there's likely different paths to get to
Mm,
that masters or many more. How
yeah.
how many, however many you want to finish.
Yes,
It
the
just
thing is, I also want to remember that my mom was also like comparing myself like to other like young women back time,
mm-hmm,
and this was also one thing that I need to overcome. This kind of my path was so special and so different than others that I stopped compare myself to other people. So it also
mm,
helped me to to have the peace in my life back then.
mm,
Yeah. This is also one thing. Of course, if you want to be really successful, you also look like next to the another person. Oh, what is the person is going to do? Or can I also do this? Right? And now I feel like, oh, everything in my pace. And
mm,
if I don't make it, it's also fine. So it's okay. But at the end, I want to say to myself, like, it was a nice day. It was yeah,
mm.
this kind of thing. Yeah.
Now, I would love to hear your thoughts on this because of the between Betty and I, you would be
Mm.
closer in age to Phương than Betty and I.
Oh, may I ask, how old are you, Jason?
I'm 32.
Oh, I'm 2 years younger than you.
Yeah, but the 30s are still also nice, right?
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank you for being a speaker in this living book session and for such sharing inspiring and emotional stories. Uh, Thanks for the courage. Uh, Despite many people have told you that you shouldn't do this, but you still choose to share the story to people. Uh, yeah, and second, I would like to congrats because you have overcome such a traumatic experience that is unbelievable because I know that not many people have a second chance in life like this. Yeah, earlier in this year, I also heard a story from my acquaintance that a girl in her 20s who have the same symptoms, the same rare disease like you, like a mutant vessel in the blood, blood vessel in the brain, but she unfortunately she couldn't uh, make it to survive. Yeah, so I can say it's very lucky that you have overcome all the things and all the prejudice that have been put on you, also by your mom and many people around. Yeah, yeah, I really admire your resilience. Also, yeah, that's what Vietnamese women should be proud of, right? We are so resilient
Yeah.
and not giving up. Mm. Yeah, if I believe that if we are face to face right now of us, each of us will give you a hug. So,
Thank
but
you so
we can be
much.
now.
Yeah,
So
we
we will
we
be
we,
giving
we
you a
still
virtual hug.
give you
Yeah.
a virtual hug.
Thank you so, so much. It also means a lot to me what you're saying. So, yeah,
Mm.
this is, thank you so, so much.
So Phương, as understood, so are you totally cured, or
Thank you.
I mean, it can just any stroke could happen anytime, right?
Yes.
So what's the diagnosis that this disease can come back anytime,
Yes.
or have they? after surgery, have they removed all of the cancer cell or cancers,
Um,
whatever
Go.
it is in there?
Can never
um,
go, right?
the aim from the doctors were like to close everything, the blood vessels that are like over. How do you can I describe it? It's like the blood pressure is really high on this kind of mutation field, and they started with the surgeries to put like a glue in my brain. So it happened like 7 times, and I think on the third time there was like a second stroke because one of the blood vessels, the small one, they imploded inside. So I had like another stroke. I remember 2022, and I also had radiotherapy to make the vessels smaller. But the thing is, they cannot. The vessels aren't still closed, so I still have the risk that one of the vessels can implode again. Or, for example, that there might be the region where I had the radiotherapy, that there might be some side effects. For example, that I still have like some epilepsy, to call epilepsy, this region that was affected. And of course, sometimes when I'm really stressed and really tired, I feel like that the brain, the part is a little bit overstimulating. This means sometimes I'm not able to see anything or I cannot talk. That sometimes I still have those kind of symptoms, but overall I'm still like being the lucky one, of course, compared like to other people having the same disease. They're sitting in the wheelchair or they died, right? So it's like I still like wonder that I still haven't that much side effects from this kind of disease, but it was, yeah,
Wow.
and yeah,
So you have
and
to
I
live your life like a last day. Yeah.
exactly that's one thing. Because I came to Japan, I also went to the MRI again with and talked with my doctor, and I asked him like, I'm planning now to go to Japan and like to do some internship and something here. Do you allow me to go? And he said, you still have this young life right now, and we cannot tell you if it's happened again or not. There's still a risk, and what we can tell you is like, please enjoy your young life, because of course when I'm becoming older, I might be having a higher risk of strokes, of course, that it can be happen again when I'm in my 40s, in my 50s. So I've lived now with this kind of, okay, it can happen, but it doesn't stop me from the things I want to do. So sometimes I feel like that it could be like my last day, but I hope it's not my last day. But I try to be, yeah, when I go to bed, maybe later, I want to myself like, thank you for this day, for today. And if it happened maybe tomorrow, I wouldn't regret anything. So this is the kind of, yeah, mindset that I have right now.
That's a great mindset to, because one of the things people say is to live your life as if it's the last day, right?
Yes,
Because that's when you intentionally choose to do things that are meaningful, that are purposeful, right? And so when the end of the day comes, you look back to the day and um, you tell yourself, I had a great day. Thank you, universe. Repeat,
yeah,
But
please.
in the talk, I'm still wondering if you really live for you right now. But I think that you still share. You share. You want to share your story in the way, because you some things like you have to pay back. Like you feel thankful or gratitude, and that's why you're sharing your story. And but is this really your the life of you want?
yes, the thing is, that's as you can imagine, the life that I had before was not like telling my story or something. It was like working in the lab, being a scientist, and talking on conferences and so on. So, but what I'm doing right now, it's like I want like to talk to people a lot, to communicate, and that's the reason why I really love what I'm doing right now. And I'm still in the beginning. And if you can imagine, here in Japan, now I'm also doing this thing because I really want to do, because I also thought like after my master thesis, after master degree in March, I could have entered like any company to work, but I was like, no, I want to go to Japan and to enjoy life there and try out the language. I'm studying Japanese right now, and I really enjoy what I'm doing right now. And maybe it was like sounding really like being successful again for my past, but it's not like this. It's like I really like drinking tea or with a, I don't know, with a person and ask them like, what's your life story, right? And to talk with them about life a lot. So I really love what I'm doing right now. Tea.
So anything crazy thing that you you'd love to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Any example of the crazy things? No.
Yeah, I'm also still thinking about like to have this maybe to be a freelancer or something like this, to maybe to create videos, or maybe to have like a brand doing some necklace with like a vessel or something like this. This kind of thing. Yeah, I was also thinking about maybe to create a brand and then to talk. Yeah, to become a speaker.
So still speaker is for the others or for you?
It's for me. Yeah. But it's not for my mom. My mom wants me to work in a company and to have a safe job. So I don't know if I can maybe earn money with what I want to do. But yeah, that's why I'm still figuring out if there's a chance that I can do this like from everywhere in the world. Yeah.
But believe me, as a mom, we all want the happiness for
Yeah.
your children. So
Thank you so
don't
much.
worry. If you
Because
are happy, so she will be happy.
Yeah, because my mom, honestly, I have to tell you that she doesn't like the thing that I'm doing right now, that like posting on LinkedIn or having this kind of networking events where I want to go and this. And she said, but can you pay your rent, and can you pay your bills? I was like, I don't know.
Mom always
Hey,
worried.
your mom is like exactly like my mom.
Really? Oh, oh my
Like
God,
all mom,
we're not
all
alone.
mom.
But but Betty, thank you so much also for your worrying, right? Because of course, it sounds like that might be a pressure from outside. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. Any last thoughts from anyone?
So what is your message?
A message to you.
Hmm?
It's like live your life to the fullest, because also it can happen anything, other in any time. For example, like an accident or a disease that maybe can happen to you. So I really want you like to enjoy, and also not to regret anything that I was regretting in the past, that I was living for my mom and not for myself back then. Yeah.
That's very important, isn't it? And it takes courage to
I think
stand up
always
and
easier to say
tell
than
the
to do.
world,
Mm-hmm.
to tell the world, to say, you know what, I'm living for myself now.
Mm.
I'm saying no to you, and I'm saying yes to me. That takes courage, and it also takes practice, because just like what Betty just said, it's much easier say than done.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
you could be very, very surprised. My mom now, she's almost 80s, and I could never, but before, I would never say the things I told her recently, because I thought that I didn't want to hurt her, or
Mm.
I to break the image, my
Yes.
image, my
This is.
image. And stuff like. But I was very surprised how comprehensive and how modern, how her mindset is very. I mean, it's more modern than we can think. Very
Mm-hmm.
surprised. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that is a power to be a mom.
Right.
Yeah, I personally find that Vietnamese moms, especially the generation before mine, are quite critical. And it's not just one or two, it's like most of them. That's so critical, right? And in with like connecting the dot with my own mom, it took me decades and decades to finally realize, you know what? The best way to deal with her own of her critics is to use humor. And and a lot of things she say I would just reply with, I know, I'm not perfect like you.
That's a good. This is so
You know
nice.
what?
But they are
It
critical
literally
because they
sometimes
don't know how to deal with us. It's only the way people taught them to be. Yeah. Also, so it's only way they try to deal. Yeah. But behind the critical is only the word love. But
Yes.
they don't know how to say that. They don't know how to say that. Qui aime
Oh,
bien châtie bien. I mean, yes.
yeah, I totally hear you. Like I understand where they come from, right? They only behave the way they were taught. They
Yeah.
are not capable of going beyond what they learned from the previous generation. So I get it. I totally get it. But still, as a person, and honestly, to also protect my own daughters, because sometimes my mom's critics don't stop at me.
Mm.
You know, it goes to the next generation. And I certainly do not want the next generation to live under the pressure that I've lived. And
Mm.
I totally understand Phuong because it took me decades to be able to stand up to my mom and tell her, you know what, I understand what you want, but I have lots of responsibility. I have my own life to live. I cannot live your expectations. I cannot live out your expectations. I find somebody else. Oh yeah, we, my mom and I, just like Phuong, my mom and I have had some conversation, and yeah, and as I say, in the end, I had
Mm.
to use humor to stop her with her criticism,
That's
and
a
and
that's a really
and I
good
did tell her,
advice. I think I would want to try it too with humor more with my mom. I think that's like my next experiment if it works with humor.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But in that one thing is also like, of course, with my age, 32, I was also thinking about like to, yeah, have a family maybe in 2 or 3 years. And if I'm, of course, if my health allows me, of course. But I also thought about like what kind of mom I really want to be. It's like the similar, like my mom, or can I be like the next generation mom or something? Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah. Like one thing that I consciously choose was to stop the intergeneration trauma,
Mm.
because in a sense it is a sort of trauma that we are being criticized by our parents, and I don't want the next generation, no matter who they are, to be affected by that. And they have got to have the choice to choose how to live their life, and they shouldn't have to, it's not because they care, like the generation before us, it's not because they care that they have the right to impose their wishes upon us.
Mm.
They have got to learn to manage that on their own as well. Like if we can teach them, great. If not, you know what? We have got to learn to leave that burden behind instead of carrying it on our shoulders and crumble under it. Because it's already really hard to live our lives with our own responsibilities and with our own desires. It's another matter to also carry somebody else's desires and wishes, good intentions or not. Like I remember in English there's a sentence that say the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Oh, really?
And sometimes it's true, because somebody has good intentions towards us, and they want us to do things in a certain way because they know that's the safe way. However, their ways may not work for us, right? And the protection that they put towards us, who knows, we may not need it at all. And on the other hand, sometimes we need to learn the hard lesson in order to grow, right? Because when we are protected, we actually don't learn. Yeah, yeah. Tiếng Việt là nói chứ phải ăn đạn vài lần rồi mới biết. I learned that sentence from somebody. I didn't come up with it myself. I learned it from somewhere. Cuộc đời á là phải ăn đạn vài lần nó mới biết. I'm like, wow, that sounds so traumatic, but it sounds so true.
Who has a perfect life? Nobody knows.
Yeah. Anyway, ladies, thank you so much for today's meeting. You are right, for today's meeting is such a cozy one, and yet the conversation we had is so deep. And I appreciate you all showing up, and I hope to see you again in the next meeting next month.
Betty, Ngauk, and Tina, thank you so much for joining today.
Yeah,
Thank you for
you.
sharing.
Have a great tonight, Phuong, and actually, for all of all of you, have a great tonight, except for me. Like it's because it's 9 a.m. my time, so I still have a long day ahead. All right, ladies.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Have a